Hello, everyone. My name is LaShawn Jenkins, and I'm the proud principal here at W.A. Pattillo Middle School. And I'm really excited right now to do this spotlight interview. As many of you know, the history here at Pattillo is extremely rich, and we really value that history. Not only that, but coming up in 2023 is a centennial year for the history of this school. Even though this school hasn't been Pattillo Middle School for 100 years, but just the history and the legacy of this school has been for 100 years. And so I am super excited today about being able to conduct this interview with a Pattillo alumni. And so at this time, I'll let her introduce herself.
Hello, my name is Charlotte Strong Privott. I'm a proud graduate of the W.A. Pattillo High School. I graduated in 1966. When I was in school, this was not, of course, a middle school, it was a high school, and it encompassed grades 1 through 12. And I'm often asked by my grandchildren, Grandma, what, you went to the same school for 12 years? Yes, I went to the same school for 12 years. And on this campus, because when you're younger, I guess it looked a little larger than it really is. We had an elementary building, then a middle building, and then the high school building. And school was everything. This is where you met your friends. This is where you learned about your community. You learned everything. Everything was centered around home, school, and church. And if you went to Pattillo, you had the experience of all of it. You had the experience of public speaking. You had the experience of sports. And during that time, we did have ladies' sports as well as men's sports. If even now, when you talk to people and they say, oh, you were at Pattillo when the football team did so-and-so and so-and-so. I was not a football person, but I do remember some very important championships that were played during my 12 years, 11 years here at Pattillo.
So Ms. Privott, walk me through, think back to just a few years ago when you were a student here, and just tell me about the pride that existed in this building. Like everyone that I talk to who are Pattillo alum, it doesn't matter if they attended Pattillo 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, there seems to be this fire in Pattillo alumni that just really lights up every time they talk about Pattillo. So tell me what that's all about.
Well, I guess in the times that we were growing up, this was the only school that we as African Americans attended. So this was our rock. This was our foundation. And when you talked about Pattillo, that was our everything. If you didn't go to church, you went to Pattillo. I always tell one of my friends that she afforded me the experience of riding a school bus. The kids in Princeville, I think after they were promoted to the 5th grade, they came to Pattillo. Well, my parents had to go out of town to a funeral, and I stayed with her all night. And she rode the bus. Talking about happy, talking about anxious and excited, and I was sitting on the bus as if I was the bus driver. But those are the kinds of things that, those type of experiences. We had a dance group, because even...
Like a dance team?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
And it was funny, a couple of years ago, I was talking to a young lady, and all of us were in that dance group, and we were talking about some of the dances. She said, oh, I remember some of our routines. And I said, well, I did too. We're going to have to get together and do those routines. But it was those type.
So all these years later, Not saying it was a long time,
Oh, it
but
was.
all these years later, you guys still remember your dance routine.
Oh, yeah.
You know, um, so my next question is, how did you view your teachers? Like, what did your teachers, your principal, like, what did they mean to you? Were they just, that's just my science teacher, that's just my principal, or were they like an extension of your family? Like, what did they mean to you?
Your teachers were an extension of your home, your community, and your church. And which is different from today. When you saw your teachers at school, you also saw them at church. You saw them at different other activities. They were pillars of the community. And very well, during that time, teachers were very well respected. And if your teacher said so, guess what? It was so. And not only did the children, or we, the students, respect them, but our parents as well.
Right. So, nowadays we talk about the village. How would you describe the village for you and your classmates here at Pattillo?
It definitely was a village. You knew that from one street to another, you're going to see either your parents' friends or your teachers, and you knew that they expected the best from you. So that's what you did. I had a teacher who would always say, when you go home, you need to do your work. Because she would always say, because the night has 1,000 eyes. That meant, and we knew that, if we were supposed to be home at a certain time, we were supposed to be home at a certain time. Because if not, she was riding around to make sure that you were home.
Wow.
So in that time, the whole community kind of looked out for each other.
Right.
My 10th grade, 9th, 10th, and 11th grade science teacher lived right behind me. Well, my 12th grade year, I had my general science, I had my biology, I had my chemistry. I didn't need to take any more science to go to college. Well, my parents' garden was right in the back of her yard. So they were out there in the garden one day, and I heard my mama say my nickname. Come on out here. Miss Thomas wants to say something. She had told my parents, I think you should take physics. Well, my senior year, I was going to scroll on by because I was going to take music appreciation. Because I knew that was an A. She said, but you have this, this, and this, and you go to college, you need to take physics. It was those kind of things that, she knew what my classes were. She was not even my homeroom teacher. But she was a neighbor. And they kind of, at that time, teachers looked out for the neighborhood kids.
So it was this built-in accountability everywhere. Everywhere. So my last question, because time is just getting away, we're definitely going to have to come back for part 2 of this. So the last question that I want to ask is, all these years later, I've seen you guys in the Alumni Association. There's a National Alumni Association, meaning like there are graduates of Pattillo High School all over this country, still unified and still connected through like your legacy here as students.
Yes.
Not only that, but it's very few alumni associations where you guys contribute your time and financially back to the school still. So, Ms. Privott, for the kids who are going to watch this, who don't maybe understand the legacy of Pattillo, who don't quite get it yet, and they will through their history of the school module, So for the kids who don't quite understand the significance of that, this school in 1924 was opened because society wouldn't open its doors to colored children, and then and then the school metamorphosized into W.A. Pattillo High School, and now in middle school, and now here we sit in on the same sacred soil, and we're treading all of that history. So if you could just close this out to all the kids in this middle school who will watch this, what would you say to them in terms of who they are and where they can go?
I would tell them you are here. Learn all that you can. The world is open to you. The teachers are here for you, and it can be done. If it was done then, it can be done now. That your teachers are interested in you, and you might be surprised that some of your great-grandparents are also graduates of W.A. Pattillo High School. Sometimes as we get older and we think children are not interested in the history, but it's good. Ask your parents. Ask them about that corner. Where did you go to school? You would be surprised that they probably had some connection. And after asking them, they can probably tell you of some experiences that they had at W.A. Pattillo. But in short, if it was done then, if we could, at that time it took a village, and it still takes a village to raise children. We as Pattillo alumni members, we are here for you. Whatever that you need educationally or encouragement, we are here. And as long as you know that somebody is here for you and willing to push you along or to help you, it can be done. It will not be done in the same way as when I was growing up, but the seed has been planted.
Ms. Privott, thank you so much for your time. This has been absolutely awesome. I just love the history and legacy of this school. And as I took a personal, deeper dive into the history of the school, as the principal of the school, this kind of made me like chest up a little bit, head up, chin up. It made me understand the importance of even making my own mark, because the history of this school, there's been some amazing leaders who have led this school, even when it was a high school. And so it is my goal, it's my vision to integrate some of those pillars that has sustained this school for almost 100 years now to continue that legacy. So thank you so much for your time. I'm really excited about our partnership. We're gonna have to do part 2.
And we as friends, to know that someone else is interested in your history. I know that you are at the right place at the right time.
Thank you.
Yes.
I needed to hear that. Thank you so much. So those of you out there, so again, thank you for your time. Appreciate you taking this opportunity. Students, again, there are some follow-up questions that are going to come from this interview. So I really appreciate your diligence and learning the history of our school. It's important that when you pull up to W.A. Pattillo Middle School, that you can tell people, yes, I know who W.A. Pattillo is. Yes, I know who W.H. Pattillo is. It's important that you understand the legacy of the soil that you tread every day, that someone who went before you was able to lay that foundation just so we could show up to such an amazing school, such a beautiful school, and get such an amazing education. But having said that, until the next time, this has been our Pattillo Alumni Spotlight with Miss Charlotte Privott. Thank you so much, Miss Privott.
Trojan Pride.